Overview and objective. Children, we all know that plants and animals, including humans, can make similar copies of themselves through the process of reproduction. Reproduction is not essential for the survival of an organism, but it is vital for the survival of a species. Today, we will learn in detail about reproduction in plants.
What are you doing, Mom? I am preparing cuttings of the rose plant so that I can transfer them into new pots. Mom, why are you doing this? So that a new rose plant will start growing from these cuttings. Mom, the other day, you were sowing some coriander seeds into our kitchen garden for growing coriander plants. But now, you are planting cuttings of rose plant. I am confused. Don't get confused, my dear. I'll explain you. Some plants reproduce sexually and some asexually. That is why this difference in planting. Can you please explain in detail? Sure. Listen carefully.
Let us learn in detail about the sexual and asexual reproduction in plants. Reproduction in plants. Reproduction is a fundamental feature of all living organisms. It is a biological process through which living organisms produce offsprings similar to them. Reproduction ensures the continuation of various species on the earth. In the absence of reproduction, the species will not be able to exist for a long time and may soon get extinct. There are several ways by which plants produce offspring, that is, young ones. These are mainly divided into two types: asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Production of new individuals without the fusion of the male and the female gamete is called asexual mode of reproduction. Organisms undergoing this kind of reproduction produce offsprings that are morphologically and genetically identical to them. Offsprings thus produced do not show variations and are called clones. In the asexual mode of reproduction, a new plant is grown from a part of the plant other than the seeds. Asexual reproduction only occurs through mitotic cell division. Asexual modes of reproduction are common in organisms having simple organizations such as algae and fungi. It is a fast process. There are different methods by which organisms reproduce asexually. These are fission, vegetative propagation, spore formation, fragmentation, budding. Types of asexual reproduction in lower organisms. Fission. Fission is a type of asexual reproduction where the parent cells divides into two or more daughter cells. There are two types of fission, namely binary fission and multiple fission. Binary fission. Binary fission consists of divisions of the nucleus followed by the division of cytoplasm, producing two cells, each having a daughter nucleus. Most of the unicellular animals prefer this method for reproduction. These organisms reproduce by binary fission, especially when conditions are favorable. That is, adequate amount of food and moisture is available. Binary fission is somewhat similar to mitosis. The mother cell divides into two daughter cells, and each daughter cell begins its life like a new individual. The parent generation ceases to exist after binary fission. Amoeba is a very good example of the organism which reproduces by binary fission. Simple binary fission. When the cytoplasmic division passes through any plane, the fission is called simple binary fission. Example, amoeba. In unicellular organisms like planaria and paramecium, The splitting of the cells during division can take place along any plane. This is called transverse binary fission. In leishmania, binary fission occurs in definite orientation in relation to the whip-like structures located at one end of the cell. This is called longitudinal binary fission. In plants, binary fission can be seen in bacteria, yeast, and euglena. Multiple fission. In multiple fission, the nucleus of the parent cell undergoes repeated divisions to produce many daughter nuclei. The cytoplasm also divides and cleaves around each nucleus, forming several daughter cells in the parent cell. When conditions become unfavorable, that is, food, moisture, proper temperature, etc., are not available, this is the preferred mode of reproduction by unicellular organisms. The organism develops a thick coating around itself. This is called cyst. The cyst helps the organism to tide over the bad phase. The nucleus divides into several nuclei and each daughter nucleus is surrounded by a membrane. All metabolic activities stop in the organism after cyst formation. When favorable conditions return, the cyst dissolves or breaks down, releasing the daughter nuclei. The daughter nuclei, in turn, grow into new individuals. Plasmodium and amoeba undergo cyst stage when they are not in the body of their prime host, that is, humans. In plants, multiple fission is seen in algae. Types of asexual reproduction in plants, higher organisms. Modes of vegetative propagation. Modes of vegetative propagation include the production of specialized structures such as tubers, runners, rhizomes, and bulbs. Number 1. A new rose plant can be grown by cutting off a part of the stem of an existing plant with 2 or more nodes and planting it in the ground. A node is a part of the stem from where a leaf grows. This stem grows into a new rose plant. Number 2. Bryophyllum propagates vegetatively by the formation of leaf buds on the margins of a leaf. When the buds come in contact with moist soil, each bud is capable of growing into a new plant. Number 3. Tuber of potato. The potato tuber is a modified stem. Many notches can be seen on the surface of potato. These are called eyes of potato. Each eye of a potato can give rise to a new potato plant. Farmers utilize this capability of potatoes to grow potatoes more quickly, which is not possible by using the seeds of potato. Fragmentation. Mature parent body divides into 2 distinct pieces, that is fragments, which grow into new individuals. Example, Spirogyra, an alga. Other organisms that show fragmentation are flatworm, planaria. Algae are green, thread-like plants and grow in stagnant water, ponds and lakes. They float on the surface of the water. Budding. The process of reproduction by the formation of a small bud-like projection from the body is called budding. Budding in unicellular organism. The nucleus of the parent cell divides into 2. One of the nuclei moves into the projection. The bud thus formed can detach from the parent or mother and can exist independently. Also, a chain of buds can be formed from it if it is not detached from the mother cell. Example, yeast cell. Budding in multicellular organism. The body wall gives out a small bulge or protrusion and then gradually enlarge. The bud after detachment from the mother body can lead an independent life. Example, hydra. Sexual reproduction in plants. Sexual reproduction. When two parents are involved, the gamete formation takes. The method is called sexual reproduction. Meiosis happens during gamete formation, which is an important step of sexual reproduction. All flowering plants reproduce sexually, as flowers are the reproductive parts of the plant. The stamen is the male reproductive part and the pistil is the female reproductive part of the flower. The flowers which contain either the pistil or stamen are called unisexual flowers. Example: corn, papaya, cucumber. The flowers which contain both stamen and pistil are called bisexual flowers. Example: mustard, rose, and petunia. Both male and female unisexual flowers may be present in the same plant or in different plants. Parts of a flower. Male organs. Around the center of the flower, there are many little stalks with swollen tops. These are called stamen. Stamen is the male reproductive part. Anther is a capsule-like structure at the top of the stamen that contains pollen grains which produces male gametes. Each stamen consists of a green stalk called filament which holds up the anther. Female organs. Pistil. It is the female part of the flower. It is a flask-shaped structure in the middle of the flower. It is divided into three parts. Ovary. The lower broader portion of the pistil is called ovary. It contains the one or more ovules. The female gamete or egg is formed in an ovule. Style. The narrow middle portion of the pistil is called style. It joins the stigma and ovary. Stigma. The sticky end to attract pollen grains at the top of the style is called stigma. In sexual reproduction, male and female gametes fuse to form a zygote. Pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a flower is called pollination. If the pollen grains lands on the stigma of the same flower, it is called self-pollination. When the pollen of a flower lands on stigma of another flower of the same plant or that of a different plant of the same kind, it is called cross-pollination. Fertilization. After pollination has occurred, the male sex cell needs to get to the female sex cell. The process by which the two sex cells fuse is known as fertilization. Fertilization occurs after a pollen tube is formed, which channels the male sex cell down through the style into the ovary, then into the ovule where fertilization will take place. The cell formed after fertilization is known as a zygote. The zygote develops into the embryo. Meanwhile, walls of the ovule develop into layers and form a seed, and the ovary forms the fruit. Thus, a seed which contains an embryo, stored food, and a protective coat can then germinate and become a new plant.
Natasha, now did you understand the different methods of reproduction in plants?
Yes, Mom. I never knew that there are so many ways of reproduction in plants. Now I understand why you opted different ways for growing rose and coriander seeds.
Yes, my dear.
Overview and objectives. Almost every grown-up person has wondered where babies come from, isn't it? You are also aware that the reproductive system is responsible for the creation of new life, and humans have sexual reproduction. This means that a male and female come together to form a new baby. So, it is very important to learn about the male and female reproductive system before learning about the formation of babies. So today, let's try and understand the reproductive parts of the male and female human beings. Good evening, Rahul.
Very good evening, Wisdom Tree.
You look very excited today. What is the matter?
Today, our science teacher taught us about the male and female reproductive system of human beings. But I had to miss the class as I had to go for an inter-school quiz competition.
So what?
Our ma'am has told the class that she will be conducting a test on the topic and the marks of each student will be included in the summative assessment. I don't know anything. I'm tensed.
Don't worry, Rahul. I'll teach you. Just listen carefully and take care not to interrupt me during my explanation. I'll clear all your doubts once I've finished explaining the topic, right? Overview and objectives. Almost every grown-up person has wondered where babies come from, isn't it? You are also aware that the reproductive system is responsible for the creation of new life and humans have sexual reproduction. This means that a male and female come together to form a new baby. So, it is very important to learn about the male and female reproductive system before learning about the formation of babies. So today, let's try and understand the reproductive parts of the male and female human beings. Good evening, Rahul.
Very good evening, Wisdom Tree.
You look very excited today. What is the matter?
Today, our science teacher taught us about the male and female reproductive system of human beings. But I had to miss the class as I had to go for an inter-school quiz competition.
So what?
Our ma'am has told the class that she will be conducting a test on the topic and the marks of each student will be included in the summative assessment. I don't know anything. I'm tensed.
Don't worry, Rahul. I'll teach you. Just listen carefully and take care not to interrupt me during my explanation. I'll clear all your doubts once I've finished explaining the topic, right? Male reproductive system. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvis region. It includes a pair of testes along with accessory ducts, glands, and the external genitalia. A. Testes. There is a pair of testes which lies in a skin pouch called scrotum. Scrotum is suspended outside the body, below the abdominal cavity. This helps in maintaining the temperature of testes below the body temperature. This is necessary for optimum sperm production. Testes primarily serves the function of sperm production. Sperms are the male gametes. Apart from that, testis also produces testosterone. Testosterone is also called the male hormone, as it is responsible for developing certain secondary sexual characters in boys. B. Prostate gland. The job of the prostate gland is to secrete prostate fluid, one of the components of the semen. The mixture of sperm and fluid is called semen. The fluid helps in the transport of the sperm easier and also protects the sperm from urinary traces. It also acts to a certain degree as a control mechanism to stop semen and urine from mixing together as both are discharged through the urethra. C. Vas deferens. Vas deferens is the tube which carries sperm to the seminal vesicle. It continues from the epididymis as a tube. They go upward through the urethra and are located on both sides of the scrotum. D. Urethra. The urethra forms a common passage for both the sperm and urine as it is just one tube that connects the glands, the bladder and the vas deferens. It is the containing part of the sperm duct. E. Seminal vesicle. an organ in the abdomen situated on either side of the urethra in an area just above the prostate gland, is called the seminal vesicle. It is the place where almost 55% of semen is produced. The seminal vesicle fluid is thick and clear. It contains mucus, amino acids, and fructose, which gives sperm cells energy. In addition, it also has hormones called prostaglandins, which stimulate the uterine muscles to move the sperm cells to egg. Number F. Penis. It is the muscular organ which serves the genitourinary functions. The urethra works as the common passage for urine as well as for sperms. Sperms are tiny bodies that consist of mainly genetic material and a long tail that helps them to move towards the female germ cell. Functions of the male reproductive system. The human male reproductive system performs two main functions, namely A. Formation of the sperms. B. Transfer of sperms to the female genital tract. Female reproductive system. The female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries along with a pair of oviducts, uterus, cervix, vagina, and the external genitalia located in the pelvic region. Number A. Ovary. Ovaries are the primary female sex organs that produce the female gamete, that is ovum, and several steroid hormones, that is ovarian hormones. There are two ovaries, one near each fallopian tube. Germ cells develop into eggs inside the ovaries. It is estimated that about 4 lakh eggs, that is ovum, are stored in each ovary at birth. However, only one egg becomes ripe each month, once puberty begins, and departs from the ovary and travels into the fallopian tubes, that is oviduct. They also manufacture the female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, which is instrumental in the onset of the menstrual cycle. B. Fallopian tubes or oviducts. One fallopian tube comes out from each side at the top of the uterus. The fallopian tubes end in finger-like structures called fimbriae. Function. It is involved in the conduction of ovum or zygote towards the uterus by peristalsis, and it is also the site of fertilization. C. Uterus. The two oviducts unite into an elastic bag-like structure known as the uterus. It is a large, hollow, muscular, pear-shaped, highly vascular organ present in the pelvis between the bladder and the rectum. The uterus opens into the vagina by a narrow cervix. Function. The uterus harbors the developing embryo and provides it with nutrients and oxygen and removes the carbon dioxide and wastes. D. Vagina. The cervix, mouth of the uterus, opens into the vagina. Vagina is a muscular tube-like organ which serves as the passage for the sperms and also as the canal during the childbirth. Fertilization, development and birth. Number A. The sperm entering through vagina travels up towards oviduct. After reaching there, it encounters with the egg, forming zygote in the process of fertilization. B. Zygote divides, forming a blastocyst, that is, a ball of cells. C. The blastocyst implants in the wall of uterus and development of embryo takes place here. D. Through umbilical cord, embryo receives nutrients and oxygen from mother's blood. E. After 9 months, baby is ready to take birth through cervix and then vagina. Functions of the female reproductive system. The human female reproductive system performs the following functions. A. Formation of eggs. B. Reception of sperms during copulation. C. providing a conducive environment for fertilization. D. Providing shelter and nourishment to the growing embryo. The female reproductive system is associated with the formation and maturation of the egg and the feeding and protection of the developing embryo inside the.
Modern technology with respect to reproduction came into picture because of need for various reasons due to which couples cannot have children. Reasons for this can be, in case of females, irregular menstrual cycles, difficulties in oocyte production, obstacles in oviducts, implantation difficulties in uterus, and many more. In case of males, absence of sperm in the semen, slow movement of sperm, anomalies in the sperm. With the use of advanced medical help like IVF, Sperm Bank or Semen Bank, surrogacy, these issues can be solved. 1. IVF. In vitro fertilization. Here, fertilization is brought about in the test tube and embryo formed is implanted in the uterus at appropriate time. In problems like less sperm count, obstacles in the oviduct, etc. 2. Surrogacy. Sometimes there can be problems in the implantation of the embryo in the woman's uterus. So in such cases, they can take help of modern technique called as surrogacy. Let us understand how it is done. Oocyte is taken from the ovary of the female having implantation problems. Then, with the help of sperm collected from her husband, oocyte is fertilized. Now this embryo which is formed is then inserted in the uterus of the other female having normal uterus. Such women in whose uterus embryo is implanted is called as surrogate mother. 3. Sperm bank. The problems associated with sperm production in case of many men can be conquered by this concept of sperm bank. This concept is similar to blood bank. Let's have a look on procedure for the same. Semen ejaculated by the desired men is collected after their physical and medical checkup and is stored in the sperm bank. As per wish of the needful couple, sperm from the sperm bank is ejected in the egg of the female and is fertilized via IVF technique. Later, this fertilized embryo is inserted into the uterus of same female. Name of the semen donor is kept secret as per law. Reproductive health. A person's state of being physical, mental and social strongness is called as health. Diseases. There are various sexual diseases, amongst them syphilis and gonorrhea occur on large scale. They occur due to bacteria. Symptoms of syphilis. Occurrence of patches on various parts of the body including genitals, rash, fever, inflammation of joints, alopecia, loss of hairs. Symptoms of gonorrhea. Painful and burning sensation during urination. Oozing of pus through penis or vagina. Inflammation of urinary tract, anus, throat, eyes, etc. Population explosions. Excessive growth of population in short period of time is called as population explosion. Various problems such as unemployment, decreased per capita income, and increasing loan, stress on natural resources, etc. can occur due to overpopulation. There's only one solution for this, which is population control. Population control can be exhibited by family planning.